In this video, I'm going to be creating the eyes for my fursuit. First, I have cut small squares of buckram fabric, which I will paint with acrylic paints using a mixture of a sponge and a brush. You do have to be careful not to clog up the holes with the acrylic paint in the buckram, because obviously that'll obscure your vision. And I trace my paper eye templates onto a thin plastic, which I believe in this instance is plasticard, which is used in things like model train making. And I then sand down the edges and the back so that I can apply glue to it and it won't just come off. I'll need 2 of these eye templates, one reversed. Do remember to reverse them because you are sanding the back of one of them. The eyes require multiple layers of paint to get the look that I'm after. I find something circular because I don't own a template yet, and use this to draw out where the pupils will go. I cut these out with a pair of scissors and then slowly trim the edges with a box cutter, craft knife, utility knife, whatever you want to call it. And then I sand the edges down nice and smooth. This is very difficult and dangerous, and you must take extreme caution with the box cutter and the scissors, you know, when you're trying to make a hole through the plastic. You can use a drill for this, that works, that's something I'm yet to purchase. And I'm completely happy using scissors and a utility knife. I check the fit and placement in the head, and then apply the pupils in black. I add highlights. Also, I've used a piece of tinfoil because it works as a great disposable palette. And you can also paint onto the buckram with it. These are going to be follow me eyes, so I now cut out a small section of white craft foam, or foamies, depending on whether you're in England or America or somewhere else. I use a utility knife so the edges are nice and straight and crisp, and obviously a steel ruler. I glue these on carefully to the outside of the eye. First, I tack them on with duct tape. You can use masking tape, I just find duct tape's better. And then I glue between the tape, which then afterwards, once the glue is dry, I will remove the tape and glue the gaps. These ridges will go on the outside, the visual side of your eye, because this will set them back into the head by about 1 centimetre. I think these are maybe 1.5 centimetres, which will give the follow me effect. I paint the back of the buckram eyes with black because this massively enhances vision. I do not recommend that you skip that step. Make sure it's completely black, but the black shouldn't go through to the other side. You'll have to paint them slowly and carefully. Again, I recommend with a sponge or a scrap of foam. I reinforced the corners of the follow me eyes with a small piece of black fleece, and then using templates which I cut out of standard printer paper, I add highlights onto the eyes after all of the black is done and all of the paint is dry. This will ensure the strongest, most vibrant possible. Next, I cut eyelids out of black craft foam, or foamies, which I draft the pattern on the first one and then use that to create the second one. These have to be slightly smaller than your actual eye templates. That'll really enhance the follow me effect. Please ensure that the inside edges are as crisp as possible. Again, I use a craft knife or utility knife to make sure that it's nice and smooth. If it's not smooth, I'll just keep going over it until it is. It's not very easy, I will say that. And finally, I attach the buckram onto the back of the eyes. First I add glue, next I, stick the buckram on, make sure the pupils are centered, etc., and then apply more glue to the back just to really strengthen the hold. Last step is to test the fit in the head. I hope you enjoyed this video, thankfully not such a long one. Please stay tuned for the next installment if you're interested.